Hi there, Nancy here, and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. Before I dive into today's topic, I wanted to share with you that we're going to be doing a 3-day workshop from March 23rd to 25th. It's all around LinkedIn content, so we're going to be talking a little bit about content today. But it's a great workshop. We go over some of the main forms of content we feel that every service professional should be posting on LinkedIn. We're going to cover text posts, we're going to cover polls, we're going to cover newsletters. And for anyone who has not attended our workshops before, you'll be excited to see that we give you a lot of actionable takeaways each and every day. In fact, we give everyone homework. So you guys will have some homework to really get into action and be able to see how, right, these processes fit into your business. So if you want to check out our upcoming workshop, you can click the link in the description. Of course, we'll have the link in our normal spot, which is on our workshop page on thetimetogrowcom. Just click on workshops and you can check it out there. So, today's topic is all about what we call, I guess, the Sunday scaries. It's that feeling when we are, kind of winding down from the weekend and we start to get a little bit of anxiety about the week ahead. And we feel, oh my goodness, we're already playing catch up and the week has just begun. So, what I want to talk about today is not about flying by the seat of your pants. It's about shifting, that whole mindset and that whole thought on its head and really focusing on creating some structure and some strategy that really helps us put the systems in place so that you don't feel like this. Okay. I don't want you, looking at your calendar or looking at your watch or your calendar and going, oh my goodness, I haven't even posted my content this week. I'm already behind. So that's what we're going to cover today. I don't want you to, do the Sunday scramble. I don't want you to feel right, behind before the week has already begun. So by the end of this episode, I really want you to understand what a solid, right, LinkedIn content system looks like. And I want to give you some tips on, how obviously throughout the years, I've been able to pull together some different tools and obviously resources and a flow that has helped me and obviously our team and our clients be so much more successful whenever it comes to posting content consistently. So, really the first thing that we're going to dive into is the fact that if you are experiencing this, you might be stuck in a cycle. Okay. And the cycle looks like this. You are very motivated, you're excited, you're ready to kind of jump in and start doing content. And you do, right? You post maybe, a couple posts, you shoot some videos, you get some things scheduled, and you're feeling awesome. Now, week two rolls around, maybe you throw some stuff together and it's maybe not as polished. Week three rolls around and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to skip this week. I'll pick it up next week. And then week four happens, and now you start that shame spiral. Okay. And if you are listening to this and going, that is me, trust me, I have been there as well. Okay. That is why it's so important that we're talking about this today. It is so common. In fact, most businesses, especially service-based businesses where it's us, it is us that, we're the ones that are really managing a lot of the day-to-day operations in our business. We drop the ball, whenever it comes to posting content or doing things consistently. And in fact, the majority of business owners who are service professionals aren't posting content consistently. So, the next thing that I want to kind of touch on is, well, we often get the advice, well, just jump in, just keep posting. Just, jump back in and just post, right? And the thing is that doesn't always work for people as well because, right, we get that decision fatigue, we get that blank page paralysis where we're staring at the screen and we're like, I don't really know what to post. So again, we're kind of stuck in that make a decision right on the spot. We're not planning ahead. And we're also maybe not allotting the time to get things done that we need to around our content. So, what actually works, and that's what I want to touch on now, is actually having a solid LinkedIn content system. And what this looks like is, and I really feel like there's four components of what a solid LinkedIn content system looks like. And, component number one is deciding, the types of posts that you want to do each week, right? We can call them, pillars, posts, themes, anything that you want. But I typically like to choose and kind of theme out my days. In fact, I always tell people content can only be five things, right? It can be inspirational, it can be educational, it can be promotional, it can be engaging, and it can be entertaining, right? Those five things are all it can be. Uh, and when we think about LinkedIn, right, what performs best? Well, educational content performs really well, right? People are on the platform for, development, to learn things, to hear what other people are doing. So educational content is a non-negotiable for me. So videos just like this, right? I know that I want to shoot a video each week, which is pretty cool because my video also becomes my YouTube video, which also becomes my podcast, which also becomes obviously the video that I post on LinkedIn. So you can repurpose your content in other ways, but first it's important to pick the types, and obviously the topics that you want to focus on. So for me, right, again, I just mentioned video for educational. Another post that I always do is a poll, right? A poll post is great because it is engaging. Okay. On LinkedIn, LinkedIn loves it when you create conversation, when you create that back and forth, that connection with others. And polls are a great way to start the conversation going. Okay. It's a great way to say, hey, what do you think about this? And then obviously, as people start engaging and commenting, it opens up a door for you to connect further with them. So for me, polls are absolutely a non-negotiable. And then the third thing is absolutely, and I think every single person listening, if you have any interest, right, in growing and being found, right, when people search you, newsletters. Okay. So LinkedIn newsletters I do every single week. And one of the reasons why I love newsletters so much, and I want to make sure this isn't confusing, right? A lot of people think, oh, LinkedIn newsletter, that's just like an email newsletter, which is like a recap of, whatever that's going on. Well, actually, a LinkedIn newsletter is just like an article or a blog. Right? It's a long form piece of content that you're teaching or educating on. So, I typically focus right on one theme for the week, right? So this episode that I'm doing right now, right? The number one focus is breaking this Sunday cycle and getting more consistent on LinkedIn. Well, you better believe, right? My post that's going to go out for my newsletter is going to be around the same topic, right? I'm going to be talking about it. So just a different way to kind of communicate and go over this. My video, which is this, right? That's what we're talking about today. And then, of course, my poll will be related to this. And I could ask questions like, are you finding yourself, struggling to post consistently, answer A, B, C, D, or other, right? So again, I can start some conversation there. So, LinkedIn newsletters, again, cannot stress enough. They are a great feature of LinkedIn. People can search you, if they type in a specific topic, your LinkedIn newsletter will come up in the search. It's a really, really, really great form of content. So, again, step number one is we got to get clear on the type of content that we're going to post. I gave you mine, my three non negotiables are video, polls, and newsletters. So you're going to make that decision. And then remember, each week can have a theme. I really like to theme it out. And, a lot of people go, well, doesn't that create repetitive content? If you're talking about the same thing, even if it's different ways, guys, sometimes it feels, and with the amount of social media, with the amount of content that's out there, it feels sometimes that we're posting into the void because we kind of are, right? There's so much stuff that's out there. So if we really want to bubble to the surface and be heard, we could talk about the same darn thing every single day in 1,000 different ways, and there's still going to be people who don't see it or maybe still don't fully understand what it is that you do. So let's shout it from the rooftops. I want you guys confident that if you talk about the same thing, even in different ways, you are all good. Okay. Now, the second part of this content system that I think is really important is to have a content calendar. Okay, when you have a content calendar and you've got these monthly themes, you've got these weekly themes, and you really kind of map out, right, what your marketing focuses are going to be, It is a complete game changer. So, whether you are a health insurance broker who is, looking at your schedule and thinking about things that are relevant, for your ideal audience, whether you're an accountant and maybe it's a busy time of the year and taxes are coming around the corner, maybe you're a coach or a consultant and there's a big, event coming up and you want to really focus on something. It's important for you to go through and really get an idea of what your focuses are going to be each month. And the exercise that I teach people, I'm going to give you two tips, right? Because these are two things that have been really just game changers for me and my clients. One is just to grab a blank piece of paper. Okay. Grab 12, in fact, grab one for every single month. And you're going to write the month at the top: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, right? So have a paper for each month. And what you're going to put on it is, are there any themes or anything, that pertains to your business that would be a good thing to talk about for that time of the year? Okay. Again, I think we're all different. I think there's different industries and things like that where we have ebbs and flows. Got things like open enrollment, right? There are themes that bubble up. Now, the other thing is I want you to write down what your focus is going to be as far as what services that you're going to really focus on pitching. So, for example, if you're a coach or a consultant and you've got something like a VIP, one-on-one, and you've got like 10 spots that you want to fill, that's going to be your big focus for the whole month. You're going to be talking about it. You're going to be pushing people to book a call so that they can learn more. And you're going to be obviously creating content around, what it is that you do. Now, let's say it's just one-on-one services. You just want people to book calls. Great. Put that down. That could be your focus every single darn month. That's fine. But let's make sure that we have a specific call to action and focus. If you guys are doing a workshop, right? You've got something that you're focusing on that you want to, lead people to. The workshop is going to be the focus, right? That you're leading people into. So make sure that you map out a content calendar. Now, the other little tip or the tool that I'll share with you is use a Trello board. Okay, so Trello is a project management tool. In fact, I've used it for years and years and years. And, after doing a ton of research and kind of in my background helping business owners manage their businesses and operational and all that good stuff, it is by far the project management tool that has the shortest learning curve. And why? Because it's a big old board. It's Kanban style, which means it's just like a bunch of lists that you can create. And you can put pictures and visuals on there so you can see, okay, again, I'm a very visual person. You can see all the weeks, right? If you create a list for every single week, right, for the rest of the year, you can pre-plan and put notes in there and make sure you've got everything planned out. And you can have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can put whatever you want to schedule in there. And the cool thing about organizing your content in Trello in this way is the fact that you are creating marketing assets, right? These are assets, content that you can come back to and repurpose, reuse, repeat. Let's say a couple months from now, you want to go on a trip and you want to go away. You can pull up one of your old Trello boards where you created an entire month's worth of content. You can have your team go in there, reschedule it or repurpose it. You could go in and do that yourself, and you could be done and ready to go on vacation and still maintain your consistency. So again, let's work smarter, not harder. So make sure that we do have a place, right, to organize and keep our content nice and planned out. The third, and again, this kind of wraps all this in as well, is the frameworks and templates. Okay, so again, creating a workflow, a template kind of for the content that you're creating each week. In the Expert Content Society, which, Scott and I have created for those who are looking to create content on LinkedIn, the Expert Content Society has everything, right? It's got a content calendar, it's got monthly content hubs, it's got our visibility to conversion method where people can just jump right in and it literally step by step builds out your personal brand through your content. It's got so much in there already done for you, but it also has Canva templates, right? And if you guys aren't a member of the Expert Content Society, that's fine. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to thetimetogrowcom. You can go to our programs and then obviously check it out there. But what I'll tell you is just plain organizing and having some templates already pre-created, such as newsletter templates, maybe images for your, posts already kind of created. Let's say every week, you do a YouTube video, already have some templates that you can rotate, right? That makes things a lot easier and simpler. In fact, I know a lot of clients and a lot of people who they'll confirm they love the look of about 10 different YouTube thumbnails, that perform really well. You just rotate the topic, swap out the picture, and you've got like a nice structure there. So think about what templates and things that you can implement in your business that you can just rinse and repeat and swap out. And then the last in this LinkedIn content system is one of my favorites. This is the concept of batching your content. Okay. I'm not talking about every single week, having to go in and schedule your content. It's actually setting aside a block of time each month to shoot your videos, to create your copy, to create your graphics, and to pre-schedule your content. And for me, right, I don't shift gears very well. Okay. I don't like the days where I'm on a coaching call, then I'm on a lead call, and then now I'm jumping on with my team, and now I got to do content. I don't enjoy that. I don't work productively like that. I don't work effectively like that. And so the concept of batching is actually setting aside a chunk of time on one day, or you can break it into a couple days if that's best. But you want to focus on planning and recording and doing all the things around your content. That way it's done. Okay. So if you have not set aside the time to actually make content important and to get it done, you're going to feel this way every single Sunday, right? You're going to be flying by the seat of your pants. So I want you guys to, again, get away from this Sunday panic. I want you guys to realize that a lot of times this is a system problem, not a creativity problem. There are thousands, no, millions of topics, right, that you can talk about as it relates to you and your business. There are tons of stories that you can share, right? That's never, something that we don't have, right? Every single one of us has all of that. And the inconsistency cycle, it's going to keep happening when you don't have a system. So I want you to imagine, okay, putting this all into play and feeling, right, that sigh of relief on Sunday evening. You're calm, everything's already scheduled, you're all good to go. Okay. It's going to be amazing. So if you want to join our upcoming workshop, again, where we'll go a little bit more into depth into specific content types. We'll give you some guidance, around different types of content to post. We'll go step by step and give you some really awesome homework to get you guys into action and give you some additional tips like I shared today. Please definitely sign up for our upcoming LinkedIn Content Roadmap workshop. It's going to be a good one. Again, it's coming up on March 23rd to the 25th. It is free to register. So the link will be in the description. It'll also be on our website, thetimetogrow.com. You can just visit our workshop page and sign up. So hopefully this was helpful today, and I'll see you guys next week.